If Congress and the White House don't come to an agreement on fiscal 2018 funding by Friday midnight, the federal government will shut down. Republicans and Democrats, of course, still at odds over immigration reform, and the president who wants funding for the border wall included in the spending bill. Joining me now to discuss, Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli, also CRTV.com host, along with Ford O'Connell, the CivicForumPAC chairman and Washington Examiner contributor. Deneen, let me start with you. Stakes are very high. We know the blame game obviously typically goes against Congress, the opposing party, but nevertheless, how do you see it shaking out? Because I read an interesting article in Forbes that says this wouldn't be a bad thing for Donald Trump. In fact, he could be seen, as being politically tough for his base.
Well, that is, I think, how his base will look at it, Charles. And really, when you look at it, I see this as fake outrage coming from the left, coming from Democrats. And listen, they're going to continue their resist President Trump movement on all ends. If they really wanted something done with DACA, why didn't they put forward some plans under former President Obama, especially when they had the supermajority? They're using this really as a bargaining chip. They're using these individuals, people who are here illegally, think they're playing on their emotions. And one of the things that came out under the last segment is all about getting votes and voter support as well from these individuals.
Go ahead, Ford.
Well, what I was going to say is, Charles, you got a great point here. If the government shuts down, it will be really relatively painless, because it is the president, not Congress, during a shutdown who decides what gets funded, from TSA to who feeds the animals at the National Zoo. And therefore, I do see it as an advantage for Donald Trump, because it shows the Democrats are willing to hold the government hostage in the name of illegal immigration. And to Deneen's point, she's absolutely right. Democrats don't want to basically fix the problem. They would like this generation of dreamers to get a pass with no significant border reforms, because then other groups of illegal immigrants will expect the exact same exemption.
Right.
This is pure politics, and it's about not just voters now, but future voters and other groups going forward. And it's why the Southwest of the United States has turned blue, my friend.
It's pretty interesting, though, because how this whole thing got conflated in the first place. Rand Paul actually talked about this earlier on Fox, the idea that immigration and spending, government spending, should even be negotiated at the same time.
I think the immigration debate is sort of separate, hopefully, from funding of the government. But that's a question. Will the Democrats hold up spending and funding of the government over this issue? I've always still thought immigration was going to be settled separate from the spending issue. I still think it will be and should be.
Well, Rand Paul always has his own unique ideas, but he does make a great point. This is a huge issue that should probably not be conflated with spending and keeping the government open. You've got other counter issues, from chain migration to the border wall, and that's what's making it even more complicated.
No, it totally is two separate issues. There's no reason for everything to be convoluted together. Americans are confused by what's going on. I'm trying to keep up with everything that's going on coming out of Washington on a regular basis. And again, it's coming down to scare tactics from Democrats. They don't have a message. They don't have a platform. It's resist Trump, impeach Trump, make the president look like he's crazy and doesn't know what he's doing or what he's talking about. That's all they have, Charles. And so they're going to the race card. They're playing this DACA chip, and it's playing on Americans' emotions.
Ford, I have a viewer, Kofefe Kimi, who says every few months a government shutdown threat is there. It's all theater, meant to strike fear into the public. She doesn't care anymore and refuses to hyperventilate over the fake drama. Maybe a lot of Americans are starting to feel that way, but you think it's working for Democrats?
Well, look, I definitely think it's working for Democrats, because most people don't know that, again, it's the president who decides what gets funded and doesn't. But understand why this is being rolled together by the Democrats, and that is the only leverage that they have on DACA is government funding and people's misinformation and really misplaced fears. And that's what they're hoping is going to be the key for them going forward in this debate. And they hope that basically President Trump makes a misstep and screws up.
Well, I can tell you right now, if DACA doesn't go through, in my mind, it's on Democrats, because it seems to me President Trump has extended the olive branch, and for the party that's out of power, they certainly are asking for a whole lot. Deneen, Ford, thank you both very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Charles.